We begin this morning with that breaking news on General Electric and really sort of a denouement of a years-long now deterioration and shrinking of that business that began, really call it around the time of the financial crisis when we saw the breakdown of GE Capital. So General Electric going to break into 3 new companies. It's going to happen, though, over the next several years. The healthcare division is going to be spun off in early 2023. GE is going to retain a nearly 20% stake of that business. The renewable energy, power equipment, and digital businesses are going to combine and then spin off in 2024. That remaining company will indeed be Aviation. They're structuring this in such a fashion as to be tax-free for the company. That said, the total spin-off costs, GE says, are estimated at about $2.5 billion. Saz, you and me have been following this for a long time. And, you know, there have been investors who've been calling for this outcome for a long time. And it does seem at this point to make sense.
This one is still sinking in for me, Julie, but this is quintessential classic GE stuff where they will finagle things to make sure their executive team, the top 100 people in the company, get paid. And this is one way to do it here. Look, my question is this. What happens to GE Capital? What business that is going to get spun off in 2023 to 2024? What entity assumes those liabilities? It is very unclear from this overly optimistic press release, and I'm not surprised. If you're GE, you don't want to talk about GE Capital. You want to bury that 10 feet under the ground.
Wait, Saz, GE Capital's pretty much done. GE Capital's done at this point. They sold off that jet leasing business, and that was the last of it, no?
The liabilities, Julie, are still on its balance sheet. And you talk up any analyst on the street, there is still concerns on about how much liabilities do remain on that from GE Capital. They have wound it down, Julie. You're exactly right. But it is unclear how much liabilities they have, and they will have to address moving forward. So what entity gets those liabilities? I think that is very important to consider here as this business is wound down. Secondarily, let's keep in mind when this split is happening here. This is GE trying to capitalize on a post-COVID economic recovery where all these businesses theoretically could do pretty well left to their own devices.
Absolutely, Sazi. And I think, just taking a look here at what we've gotten from the announcement right now, of course, as you were mentioning, who's actually going to be taking on the liabilities of GE Capital here. We don't yet know the capital structures of these 3 new companies. So that is something that we'll likely be hearing about in the coming weeks to months as this starts to actually come to fruition. Of course, we do have until the beginning of 2023 before we actually see the first of these spinoffs taking place here. But we know that really over the past couple of years, Larry Culp has been trying to pare down this business and move it away from the conglomerate that General Electric has really become here. We know over the past couple of years, pharmaceutical manufacturing and aircraft leasing have all been cleaved away from General Electric. And now this is really the final straw here in moving it away from the conglomerate model. But just taking a look at how these businesses have been performing recently, we should note that the company currently known as General Electric is, of course, going to be focused on aviation. Taking a look at that business segment specifically here, orders were up 69% over last year to reach $6.9 billion in the third quarter here. Revenues up 10% to $5.4 billion. So this is one of the only of these segments here that saw both orders and revenue actually grow on a year-over-year basis in the third quarter. Of course, the aviation business has also been capitalizing on the reopening and the renewed demand for aircraft parts. And this is something that the core General Electric is going to be focused on starting in 2024, guys.
So a couple of other things I just wanted to mention because Larry Culp, the current CEO of General Electric, has been speaking in an interview on CNBC. And among other things, he commented on the liabilities issue. He said that the aviation unit, core GE, what will remain after the spinoffs, will retain liabilities, he said, including the insurance unit. And the CFO of the company has said power and the renewables unit can carry the least amount of debt. So that's something that is important to note here as we go forward and try to figure out what happens from this whole situation. Something else I just wanted to note that he said in that interview that in 2023, the company will have more than $7 billion in industrial free cash flow. And that has been a key metric that the street has been watching. That's $7 billion in industrial free cash flow expected for 2023. We're going to keep talking about this, and we're going to catch up with veteran analyst Nick Heyman in the next hour. He has been covering GE for a long time as well.